Good evening, welcome to ITV News. This is Monday night's calendar.
Hello, good evening, thanks for joining us. Here are tonight's main stories.
Anything but child's play. Why these are anxious times in Halifax ahead of a make or break budget.
Everybody's feeling the pinch every time you go out shopping, every time you pay electricity bills.
I actually don't think we can survive any more increases.
How online violence is ending in West Yorkshire hospital wards, with 13-year-olds regularly carrying knives.
A lot of friends that I have that are boys do and all have carried like knives. I feel like with young people, I feel like it's really normalised.
Robbery's at the forefront of our minds when we start next week, and it will be at the end.
On the road again, Kevin Sinfield talks about the motivation for his latest fundraising mission.
And I'm in Chesterfield to savour the spectacular sights and sounds of the Sanctuary of Light, right here beneath the famous Crooked Spire.
But first tonight, we're struggling. That's the message we heard again and again from businesses and people in Halifax ahead of the Chancellor's budget on Wednesday.
Rachel Reeves, who's also the MP for Leeds West and Pudsey, is still putting the final touches to her plans for the country's economy, with reports that tax rises are likely and the two-child benefit cap may be scrapped.
But with just 2 days to go, many in the region are suffering from the cost of living and are worried about what may be about to come. Our political correspondent Fred Dimbleby reports.
What's that? Pear? I think it's a lemon.
If there is one frustration that sums up how tough things are right now, it is the price of the weekly shop. Children at the Eureka Museum in Halifax don't have to worry about the reality of that just yet, but the adults that look after them certainly do. And as Rachel Reeves puts the finishing touches to her budget, the cost of living is front of mind for many.
Things are financially quite tough. You know, the food shops going up and bills are going up, so yeah, it's quite a tough time at the moment.
Everybody's feeling the pinch every time you go out shopping, every time you pay electricity bills. Everything seems to be creeping up a little bit more, and you're constantly looking at where you're going to get that extra money from.
We need to look at people's cost of living crisis. We need to look at housing. We need to look at education, services. There's local services being cut.
This is a place of make-believe, but Rachel Reeves's budget will have very real-world impacts, not just on the economy and the market, but on how each and every one of us live our lives. She's desperate to prove she can improve things for people, but many fear of yet more pain to come. If there is bad news on Wednesday, this may be the place to drown your sorrows. But with warnings one pub is closing every day this year, landlords are calling for more support.
It's just getting dearer and dearer. Nothing's going to come down, but if we don't get help, if we don't get up shortly, I think we'll struggle again, and we will fall. We need Rachel Reeves to obviously look after the hospitality industry and do a little bit more for us, because we seem to be the brunt of it all the time, and it's us that are paying massive premiums all over, and it's killing us, and it's killing the pub trade as well.
Last year's budget included increases to employers' national insurance. This year could again see further tax rises, something that poses a potentially existential threat to small businesses like Lucy's.
I'm really worried, really worried. The first time in 5 years, and I'm starting to think we've had to cut down with staff anyway, but for the first time in 5 years, I'm like, I actually don't think we can survive any more increases. If there's increases to business rates, increases to things like VAT, national insurance, I actually don't think that we can survive that.
Just a few minutes drive away and we meet Jules. She is preparing to move out of her shop. The costs simply have become too high.
Present.
Best present I've ever got. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
What do you need from the budget?
We just need support. We are struggling. Sales in the shop are 41% down on last year, and it's just not a good time for us. Online's doing okay, but it's too expensive in the shop. We're actually having to move out, so we just need support. We feel like we're drowning a little bit.
Then where do we need to send them to?
Across Halifax, the problems the Chancellor faces are clear. In just 2 days' time, we will know whether she can deliver any solutions.
Well, Fred joins us now from Westminster. And Fred, how big a moment is this for Rachel Reeves, and what kind of measures is she actually looking at?
Well, I think it's fair to say this is the biggest week of her political life so far. And I think you were right at the start there to pick up on that word struggling, because I heard it so many times when filming that piece, and it is the key challenge she faces. She has to show that she and this government can deliver for the public. And already we're hearing some ways they think they are doing that, with an announcement over the weekend that rail fares have been frozen. There are also reports that the two-child benefit cap, as you mentioned earlier, which limits benefits for some families and certain benefits to the first two children only. Well, the reports are that that is going to be scrapped as well. But there will be pain in this budget. We thought we may see a rise to income tax. It sounds like that is now no longer going to happen, but the income tax thresholds, it's reported, will be frozen again. And that means that certain individuals, if their wages rise, will end up being dragged into higher tax brackets. She has to show, I think, in this budget, when she announced it, that she can appeal to Labour MPs, that she can keep them with her, but she also has to show she can appeal to the public, to the people in that piece, and that this government can deliver for them.
OK, Fred, thank you very much indeed. That's Fred Dimbleby live for us at Westminster.
A West Yorkshire police officer has been charged with sexually assaulting 3 women inside a York nightclub. PC Martin Brough is charged with 3 counts of sexual assault of women over the age of 16 in the early hours of the 1st of December last year. The force has confirmed he's currently suspended from duties in operational support. He's due to appear at York Magistrates Court on Wednesday.
An inquest has heard how a devoted elderly couple jumped to their deaths from cliffs near Whitby Abbey as the husband suffered with deteriorating health. 8-year-old David Jeffcock and his 74-year-old wife Susan had sent a letter to their solicitor confirming they intended to end their lives before they were found on rocks at the base of East Cliff in July. An inquest in Northallerton heard that Mr Jeffcock had bone cancer and was in pain, with his wife, the love of his life, choosing to join him.
OK, we're next tonight to the scale of violence involving young people across our region and the carrying of weapons by children as young as 13.
Exclusive data shared with ITV News has been released today, showing how the tensions dividing society are spilling into young people's lives online and in real life.
It comes after almost 11,000 children aged between 13 and 17 were surveyed across the country, revealing that 1 in 8 had committed violence, with figures rising significantly among those who'd been exposed to explicit material online.
Well, ITV News reporter Jonathan Brown's been investigating the scale of the problem in West Yorkshire and beyond. A little earlier, I spoke to him from our national newsroom in London and asked what he'd found out.
Well, I've been speaking to people over a period of weeks working in the NHS and the police about what they're seeing, and to be honest, Ian, it makes for some quite grim viewing. In Yorkshire, of course, there have been some pretty horrific incidences of violence involving young people over recent months. That's why we really wanted to understand the role that violence is playing amongst our young people, both on and offline. That led us to meet a group of young people via Yorkshire's oldest youth charity, the Youth Association, which is based in West Yorkshire. Some of those young people showed us some of the explicit, uncensored videos of attacks on their social media timelines, and I spoke to one 15-year-old girl about her experiences too.
Are you aware of people that you know that have ever carried weapons?
Yeah, many. I know so many people. A lot of friends that I have that are boys do and or have carried like knives on them in the past, especially some of my ex-boyfriends, like from about 2 years ago. They have like carried weapons on them before. And I feel like with young people, I feel like it's really normalised.
How does that make you feel?
Sometimes it is a bit scary, and sometimes I do feel like I have to be careful about what I'm saying around that person, like to not anger them, so I don't get hurt myself.
So if this is a couple of years ago, you'd have been like an early teen.
Yeah.
So were they a similar age to you?
Yeah.
13?
Yeah.
So, Johnny, what's being done to try to stop young people getting involved in this sort of thing in the first place?
Well, there are lots of different agencies trying to deal directly with this problem. The police, for example, in some parts of the country have dedicated police units tackling violence among under 25s in particular. And there are also hospitals trying to rescue young people from what can become a vicious circle of violence and attacks. At least teaching hospitals are among them. They have the largest hospital-based youth service in the country. Their youth workers say it's not a simple issue to solve.
For a young person, it is scary. So if that happens in the community, you hear about that happening. And then I think people start to think about how they may potentially be able to protect themselves from that situation. As a 15-year-old, you know, potentially the immediate answer is to carry a weapon yourself. I think it takes a lot to kind of get a young person out of that situation. But I think it's sad because a lot of them do want to be out of that situation and kind of aware of the risks and what's going on. And I think for a lot of them, if you could wave a wand and get them out of it, they would. But life itself is a lot more complicated than that, unfortunately.
Well, as you heard there, life is quite complicated for a lot of young people in this day and age. We were told about some of the young people that these youth workers talk to are being exploited by drugs gangs. Others have had pretty traumatic upbringings. But as much as this appears quite a bleak subject on the surface, there are lots of youth workers like Rowan out in hospitals and out in our communities that are doing great work.
OK, Johnny. Thank you. Jonathan Brown reporting for us. And, of course, you can watch Johnny's full investigation on ITV at 6:30.
You're watching Monday night's calendar, and still to come this evening, painting the town, well, the city, red. The Blades clip the Owls' wings in the Steel City derby. That and the rest of the sport coming up.
And let there be light. We're live at Chesterfield's Crooked Spire. Stay tuned for a real feast for the eyes.
The Conservative leader has told ITV News that her party chairman was being funny when he compared a Reform UK logo to a Nazi swastika badge. Reform leader Nigel Farage posted an image on X on Sunday showing a gold-coloured Reform crest on a black shirt, apparently referring to new party merchandise. Kevin Hollinrake, who's the MP for Thirsk and Moulton and Conservative chairman, responded with a screen grab from Wikipedia, including an image of a Nazi swastika badge. A Reform UK spokesperson said if you vote Reform, the chairman of the Conservative Party thinks you're a Nazi.
I think they're putting words into his mouth. He merely made a comparison between two things. He was being funny. I see Reform being abusive to lots of politicians all the time. They like to dish it, but they can't take it.
There are warnings tonight for drivers to steer clear of electrical vehicle charging unless they're actually plugging in there.
Yes, it might seem like a convenient spot when spaces are tight, but new research shows it's becoming a real problem, with more drivers being fined for blocking EV bays. Chloe Oliver has more.
With more than 1.3 million electric cars being driven on our roads, the demand for public chargers has never been higher. New research from online car retailer Cinch shows that in the last 5 years, Sheffield City Council issued over 600 fines for the improper use of EV bays.
We were surprised with the sheer scale of the amount of fines that have been handed out in the last 5 years. We know it's a problem. We didn't realise how big a problem it is, and it'll only get worse unless there is some better enforcement and better opportunities for EVs to charge, because there's going to be more cars on the road, and at some point the number's going to get higher.
According to Freedom of Information requests submitted to our councils, among the most commonly misused EV bay locations is this car park in Sheffield. So we spoke to drivers there to see what they think.
Space-wise, it is hard, but at the same time, if spaces are dedicated for electrical vehicles, shouldn't really be using it. But I would never do it myself, but I also don't blame people that maybe do.
To be honest, I probably would do the same. If I was in desperate need for a car parking space and I had an electric vehicle, I probably would do it, so I do understand.
Zap Map is an app that helps drivers find public charging points that are available. Its co-founder is an EV driver herself and has experienced firsthand just how difficult it can be to find somewhere to park and charge.
You found a charge point, you're driving up to it, and then there's a car parked there. So that is very frustrating. And I think really it's quite selfish behaviour by the drivers themselves. First of all, obviously, only use an EV charging bay if you are an EV driver and you are going to plug in. So you can't just be an EV driver and use these points. I think secondly, be very aware of how long you're going to charge there. But if you're just doing a top up, you need to be clear that you come, plug in, charge up, and then remove the car.
Many people can see electric charging spaces as convenient places to park, especially in busy areas. But there's warnings that parking in one without plugging in can lead to fines. Chloe Oliver, ITV News.
Right, it's time for some sport now, and Chris is here. Chris, it was a pretty miserable afternoon in Leeds yesterday.
It was, Lisa, and not just the weather. Yeah, it's now 5 defeats in 6 for Leeds United, and the pressure is mounting on manager Daniel Farke.
Powering local sport in the community. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Now, there were boos at Ellen Road yesterday following Leeds' 2-1 defeat to Aston Villa in the Premier League.
About Farke ahead of yesterday, it felt like the crowd reached a point yesterday where it feels like it's decided that he will leave probably at some point.
OK, on to yesterday's Steel City derby now, and it's been a pretty miserable season so far for fans of both Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday. Wednesday, of course, have their financial problems, but United's post-playoff hangover has lasted a lot longer than maybe anyone expected. However, could this win yesterday prove the tonic needed to begin their recovery? Tyrese Campbell loves Sheffield derbies. He got the winner in the fixture at Bramall Lane last season and scored twice yesterday as well before Tom Cannon put the seal on a 3-0 win that means the Blades are now just a point from safety at the foot of the championship table.
To be fair, I had a feeling before the game everyone was locked in, everyone was ready to go, and it was just a really good feeling, and I think a feeling that we can carry on into the season, you know, having that 3-0 win away from home, especially here in the derby, a lot of pressure, a lot of emotion. So I think from now we'll just kick on and aim up the table.
One win doesn't make a season, but I think if we can decide the trajectory of the journey, from my point of view, then we'll be okay and we'll be competitive in this tough division.
Well, it's looking increasingly likely that Wednesday will be going down this season. Clearly, there are mitigating factors behind that, a points deduction, transfer embargoes, etc. But Owls legend Chris Waddle remains positive.
Hopefully get this takeover as soon as possible and see what they can do. Can they bring players in? Can they not? Otherwise, Hendrick's got to keep working, trying to get them to believe. And if they can do that, as I said, there's still a lot of teams in this league are very beatable. They've just got to stay positive. You can't surrender with a fan base like this. You've got to keep at it, and you never know what can happen after January.
I'm very happy to translate that for you, by the way.
Yeah,
if you,
I'm sure you can, with your roots.
Now, that was the derby, of course, so we've talked about that, but there was another significant win in South Yorkshire as well this weekend.
There was, Ian, Barnsley. I mean, it's been a fairly strange season for Barnsley, all told. A good start, then a few dodgy results, but on Saturday, they picked up their biggest win so far. The Tykes put 5 past Luton, who, to be fair, were lucky it wasn't more. Manager Conor Hourihane saying his team should use this as a benchmark for the rest of the season. Huddersfield were also winners. 3 goals in the opening 16 minutes at Mansfield put this one to bed early on before the Stags pulled a goal back. Elsewhere, Rotherham are now 8 games unbeaten in League One, following a 1-1 draw at Reading. Donny and Bradford both drew 0-0, whereas Chesterfield are quickly becoming the region's entertainers. A second 3-3 draw in 2 weeks for them at Crewe. And away from football, sadly, it wasn't to be for Doncaster's Bo Greaves in the World Youth Darts Final. Remember, Bo beat world number 1 Luke Littler to become the first female player to reach that final, but she was beaten 6-3 by Dutchman Jan van Veen. And the Leeds Rhinos have bolstered their ranks with the signing of Samoan international hooker Danny Levi from Australian NRL side Canberra on a 2-year contract. And you know what? If he can have even a fraction of the successes the guy that you've met today, Lisa, well, he'll done well, won't he?
He'll have done incredibly well because, I mean, let's be honest, it's pretty hard to match up to Rhinos legend Kevin Sinfield, who I met up with earlier to talk about his latest challenge for MND.
Kevin will set out next Monday to run 7 ultramarathons in 7 days across the UK and Ireland.
Yes, he'll be travelling through Sheffield, North Yorkshire and Leeds, where he's hoping thousands of fundraisers dressed as Santa will take part in the final leg to Headingley Stadium. Kevin will also be joined for an extra mile each day by members of the MND community, who, as he told me, are at the heart of everything he does.
The reason this is called 7 in 7 Together is because we want to bring people together, and that MND community means a lot. And we've seen that over the last 5, that by getting that community together, they're sharing something unique and special, and it gives us an opportunity to show everybody how important they are, how much they're loved, how much they're cared for. We've seen the best of the UK and Ireland over the last 5 years. It's been so inspiring and given us so much energy to keep going.
Because it is a remarkable thing that's been achieved there at the M&D Centre. You know, we saw you there last week with Prince William in such a relatively short space of time to bring that about. But I guess the message of this is it doesn't stop there, it can't stop there.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I'd love to think we could lift that building up and drop it in all different parts across the UK and Ireland and help. Clearly that isn't a reality at the minute because the funds aren't there, but why can't there be something we aspire to? And clearly the big driver for everybody is to find a cure. I know Rob was so passionate about us finding a cure. Whenever that was or is, it's really important to make sure that those who came after him are looked after properly and cared for properly and have a chance and have some real hope. And I believe there is hope there.
Going back to next week's challenge, you're coming through Sheffield, which is going to be testing with all those hills, but that's also you're going to be stopping by the centre where so much research is going on, you know, what could hopefully be groundbreaking in terms of how important is it to raise their profile and see that side of things as well?
Yeah, well, you know, ever since Rob was diagnosed, you know, I've kept in contact with Dame Pamela Shaw, who's, you know, one of the leading around the world, like on M&D. So at this stage, we hadn't planned the locations, and as soon as I've been there, I said, we'll come here. I want to come to Sheffield, and the work that was done at Citroen is groundbreaking and give us the best chance of finding a cure.
And then moving on, you know, looking ahead to the final day, you'll be coming back through North Yorkshire into West Yorkshire, back here to this place that obviously holds so many memories for you. That's got to be special.
Yeah, you know, so many locations on that last day mean a lot. And I spent 8 years as a student at Leeds Beckett whilst I was playing, so to get to be there and have the extra mile there on the track and thank those guys for the support over the years. But then you think of the Santa Dash.
Because people can just come along and join in, raising their bit, families, whatever your ability, you can get involved in that last bit.
Everybody finishes here at the ground, and I think there's a Christmas carol service on afterwards, so hopefully there's a real Christmas feel for families and people can feel a part of it. Leeds is just a brilliant city, and the way it's supported Rob Burrow, the Burrow family, the M&D community.
At the heart of it all is Rob, coming back to a place where the pair of you built such a fantastic legacy in terms of rugby league and forged the friendship that you have. And I guess he, as well as the inspiration of the crowds, you know, that's always there with you.
I can't go for a run without seeing a registration plate that's got 3 7s on. I look at my watch and it says 7.77, something like that. Rob is at the forefront of our minds when we start next week, and he will be at the end too when we finish here, hopefully with a lot of people dressed as Santa. He'd absolutely loved it. He was a guy who he loved Michael Jackson, and he loved Christmas films, and he loved Christmas, and he loved spending time with his family, and he'd have loved being here.
What a way to start the Christmas countdown.
Absolutely, dressed as Santa, why not? Now then, talking of which, Christmas, of course, is just a month away, and already there have been plenty of light switch-ons across the Callander region.
Yes, at Derbyshire's largest parish church, the famous Crooked Spire is part of a spectacular, immersive light and sound installation.
Well, inside a remarkable artistic show is bringing some lovely Christmas scenes to life tonight. We can join our reporter, Fraser Maud, who's there for us this evening. And Fraser, it looks amazing behind you there.
It does, it's incredible, isn't it, Ian? For once, the spectacular twisted spire is not the centre of attention here at the Crooked Spire Church. We've got this incredible light show. It's called the Sanctuary of Light, and it really is quite spectacular. We've got smoke machines, we've got 4K projectors, we've got a bank of laptops here running it all, lights right around the church highlighting all of its features, and the man who's brought it all here, Josh Allen, the events organiser, you must be delighted. It looks amazing.
Yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled to have this here. Created by the amazing teams of Andrew Lindley and Barrett from Vent Media. It's just lovely to bring this to Chesterfield for so many local people.
So how hard is it to do? Because it looks incredibly complicated. Lights everywhere, computers everywhere. What do they have to do to make it happen?
Yeah, it's quite a long process. It takes about 4 or 5 months to put together. We discussed this over the summer, discussed content, and then the team come in, take images of the church, turn it into a 3D model, and then on the day of the installation, it takes about 9 to 10 hours to set up. So it's a really long process.
Lots of work, well worth it, and people are coming from all over to see it, aren't they?
Yeah, people from Sheffield, we've had Bradford bookings, some people coming down from London, we've had people from everywhere, as well as so many local people from Chesterfield.
And it really is fantastic to bring people into the church to show them the spirit of Christmas in a really modern way, isn't it?
Yeah, and for £5 a ticket, it's a really good luxury to have for people this Christmas. And we hope to do it again next year.
And that's the whole point, isn't it? £5 a ticket. It's on until Saturday. 1,000 people or so have seen it already. Make sure you come down here. You can pay on the door to come and see it, but it is so well worth coming down. Josh, I mean, what's your favourite part of it? I've got my own favourites of the display.
The ending, the red at the end, is just beautiful. It's so bright. It sends people off in the right way this Christmas, so definitely the ending.
Perfect. So perfect in the build-up to Christmas. It's only a £5. Bring the family down here. And, of course, the money goes towards the church and towards making sure that they can bring it back again next year. So it really is well worth it. And if you do come down, you won't be disappointed. It is spectacular.
It certainly is. Thank you very much indeed. Fraser Moore for us live in Chesterfield. In his red jumper, looking very Christmassy.
Yes, he does look very festive, doesn't he? And what lovely surroundings. Where else would you want to be on a cold, wet winter's night, but inside there?
Calming, relaxing,
yeah.
Very Christmassy, as we say. Right, let's get the weather forecast now. Here's James Wright.
Today's forecast: seafood and sugar cube towns. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Good evening. It's been a bit of a showery day today, a few bright spells in between. We should flip that round tomorrow, fewer showers and more sunny spells, but still a bit cool. Beyond that, rather unsettled. We'll see rain at times. And after this chilly start to the week, particularly tomorrow, things will get milder, particularly on Thursday. Low pressure spinning in the showers, also dragging that nagging northerly, but through tomorrow we'll see a bit of a ridge of high pressure, squeezes out the showers. And then Wednesday and Thursday we'll see a succession of fronts, but the wind direction dragging in much milder air, at least for that one day. Overnight tonight then, still a few showers drifting through. The breeze backs around to a bit more of northwesterly, so it should kind of restrict the showers to a bit more of the coastal areas. Further inland, if you hold on to clear skies, as the wind starts to drop out, we'll see temperatures tumble away to up on high ground near freezing, generally around 3 or 4 Celsius. Now tomorrow the showers will continue, and because of that chilly start, wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of winteriness up on the North Yorkshire moors there. But as we head into the afternoon, the ridge of high pressure squeezes out the showers, and away from the coast we should actually see some decent spells of sunshine. But after that chilly start of the day, and of course we're still on a bit of a northwesterly, it's going to feel cool. 6 or 7 inland, near the coast with a bit of an onshore breeze, highs of 8 there. A really cold, frosty start to the day on Wednesday, a widespread one. But then the cloud will build from the west and eventually some outbreaks of rain. So it'll still be rather cold and dreary, but look at how the temperatures rise as we head into Thursday.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Thank you very much, James. Oh, it's miserable, isn't it?
It really
I think they've got
is.
the right idea in Chesterfield. Stay inside and put some nice lights up.
Yeah, that just makes you feel warm.
It does, doesn't it?
Lovely inside, doesn't it? Lovely, yeah. Well, that's all for now. Lisa and I back tomorrow night at 6. Charlotte Hawkins has the ITV Evening News next. From us all, good night.
Bye-bye.